is an opportunity.
Family Connection.
Family Connections.
Family Connection is a program that's been around since 2019.
Churches to host supervised visits for families that are connected to the foster care system, but it's so much more than that.
Is an opportunity to be the feet on the ground for Christ.
It's an incredibly hope-giving space.
It's a program that is incredibly close to my heart. Myself and Christy Love, who's the pastor of the Connecting Grounds, we co-founded this program together.
Family Connection is a chance for families who are in foster care to come into faith spaces and experience some degree of normalcy, to sit on a couch and cuddle up and pop popcorn in the microwave and watch a movie, to play their favorite board game, to get to color, to get to play Legos together, to get to play Play-Doh together, to play tag, to hide Easter eggs together in the spring. It is this opportunity that once a week in a season where nothing feels as it should be, for families to experience things as they could be once again.
My husband and I, we became foster parents back in 2017. Our little guy would get to visit with his mom and his family, and at first it started in the park, and that was great in the summer. It was great when it was beautiful outside and they could play, and then they moved to the libraries and they were able to have this time together, but there was still this degree of it wasn't private. I remember one night picking him up from a visit, and he sat in the back of my minivan, and he just cried, and he cried and he cried about how much he just wanted to sit on the couch and watch a movie with his mom, how much he just wanted to cuddle with her and spend time with her. And as I drove him home, it was like 8 o'clock on a Friday evening, and he's crying and I'm crying, and we're driving down this road, and all of these churches were dark and empty. And I just remember having this idea, what if these spaces could become available for these families, where they could have this private, safe place where they could just spend time together, places that are already designed for children and for families, that have the snacks and the games and the books and the crafts, and could just give them that place to be a family. That we began to just dream up this crazy idea. So we worked really hard to develop a relationship with our local child welfare agency here in our city. We recruited community volunteers that we train, that we channel the passion that is in so many people. There's this massive assumption that every single family that is in the foster care system is there for child abuse and for child neglect. And the reality is that a system that is designed to protect children from those things, that is incredibly crucial, has become a system that is actually working with a whole lot more families that are dealing with poverty-related issues. We see a lot of families that are just, the rug got ripped out from under them. There was a job loss, which led to a house loss, which led to mental health struggles, which may have tripped in a past addiction, and kids are caught in this mess, as long as these families that are caught in the mess. And the reality is, honestly, what it comes down to is if a city has enough resources sometimes to catch that family and support them, and if they don't, the foster care system is ultimately where they end up going into.
When I heard what happened, I dropped what I was doing out of state and jumped on a Greyhound to come up here. I don't have any residence. I'm currently staying at a shelter for homeless men, which has been a challenge, trying to save up money and pay rent there and everything to get housing for the children. The visits here have been amazing every time and always are. I've frequently stated that I wish both of my visits each week could be here. The girls have voiced that opinion repeatedly as well. You guys are just so friendly and helpful, and make connections with the kids as well, and sit down and talk to them and help coach them along with the parents. I personally am very grateful for what you guys do here. It's been a blessing. I can tell they really love you guys and love coming here to visit with me, but also see you guys. And without this program, honestly, I think my children would be a lot more emotionally stunted. The quality of the visits at the other program aren't even remotely comparable to the time that we spent here. And without this program, I don't think the children would have as good as connection with me as they do. Having a nice support team with me and you guys has really helped them emotionally and get a sense of security. So I'm very grateful for this program and everything that it does for all the families that come here?
We started Family Connection with a building, our church building. We started with one visit, one night a week, with just a couple of supervisors, and quickly we grew to 4 visits. And quickly we even grew to about 6 to 8 visits in one room, and we had a whole little team of volunteers we were working on training and growing and building up. And that has now expanded to our site here in Springfield, where we're able to host visits multiple days a week, every night after school, to love on these kids and these parents. But that has now not only grown to multiple days in our city, but we have multiple churches in our city, and we're now expanding to churches all over the state and all over the country.
Funny story, isn't it?
Well, it kind of is.
It's a good one.
It's a story of coincidence.
Hi, I'm Paula Green, and I'm a member of the governing board at Brentwood Christian Church as one of our elders.
I'm Dr. Sarah Lockenwitz. I'm a member of Brentwood Christian Church, and I also serve on the board as evangelism chair. So as evangelism chair, I am standing up presenting this wonderful idea I had to launch our site as a Family Connection site.
When she made the announcement that this was something our church was interested in doing, I think I was waiting for my first training to start.
I reached out to our pastors, Phil and Emily, and just kind of tossed the idea. They were so enthusiastic. And so to get that feedback from the pastors, after just tossing the idea out there, was just really made me feel like I was onto something.
My name is Phil Snyder. I'm a pastor here at Brentwood Christian Church. I've been a pastor here for almost 20 years. I was born and raised here in Springfield, and so I call Springfield home. It was important for our church to be involved because we recognize how important this program is for these families and especially these children. These children are going through a lot. It's not uncommon for children to experience trauma. And if we can be part of the healing of that trauma, if we can be part of helping restore relationships, if we can help children and families who are struggling, there's nothing more important that we can possibly do as a congregation. I feel like, we go to church on Sunday mornings in order to be inspired to, figure out what it means to be the church every day of the week. And if we only go to church just for what we might get out of it individually, like on one morning out of the week, then you kind of have to question, what is the point of it all?
My impression is we have full support from Brentwood leadership and people who are interested in volunteering, and even people who are already involved who are interested in the site.
Yeah, we got our first piece of furniture.
First piece of furniture, yes.
It's so funny because on a bad day and we were both like venting about it, and then I was like, I have some good news, and she's like, we need to hear it, and she's like, I have good news too. It's not that big of a deal, but I have a futon. It's like,
Yes. Those things are like, never underestimate the power of a couch, right?
Yeah.
Like, because if you don't get to have normalcy and your time with your kiddo is across a table in chairs or like this, and you can't just cuddle up and snuggle. And we have such an enormous influx right now of families with kiddos that can't afford hotels anymore, that can't stay doubled up with families anymore because inflation's just too high, and so families are getting pushed into cars and into hotels that they can't afford for very long. And I'm afraid we're going to have a lot of increase in the months to come.
I just got a contact from St. Louis that's interested in starting this, so I'm excited that I feel like you've got a lot of interest that's growing, because right now I'm getting a lot of our families that are like, can you do a second visit, and can you do a third visit, and is there any way you could do, like I had one family that the caseworker's like, I love them to have 5 days a week if we could.
Family connection is important because people are important. It's a big thing, and it's a lot of responsibility, and it's so worth it. Knowing that you're creating that space where it's not present otherwise is worth all the scary bigness of this project, and it's worth being a part of.
To your knowledge, has this been done anywhere else?
This was just an idea. It was a very, very small idea that has really taken off.
I look at Family Connection as a pastor. I look at Family Connection as a faith leader, as a matter of stewardship. The church is really good at acquiring resources. We're really good at acquiring buildings. We're really good at acquiring, toys that populate our kids' area and, all of these kind of amazing resources. But I think that we need to have an honest conversation that if we're not stewarding those resources outside of just Sunday mornings or Wednesday evenings, then I think there's a degree of irresponsibility on the church's part. There's a degree of hoarding resources and spaces that could be used to break cycles of hurting and suffering and trauma in your community all week long. And so I think it's really critical that the church starts to rethink our use of space.
By supporting these families, I feel that I am reflecting the love that Christ gave to all of us. And I'm sorry. Because I've gotten really, really close to a lot of our families, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing what God wants me to do.
I want you to think differently about the church. I want you to think about what it looks like to bring those that are in need of community, in need of relationship, in need of hope into these spaces.
We feel very fortunate to be part of this and to be one of the first churches in Springfield to do this beyond the connecting grounds. And we just highly encourage other communities of faith to consider doing this.
From a dollars and cents standpoint, the investment that you have to make to get started is really minimal.
I can't say enough about how much I appreciate the work of the connecting grounds, the work of Pastor Christy, the work of Holly. The example they set for all of us in Springfield is inspiring. We need more people like Christy, more people like Holly, more churches like the Connecting Grounds to actually be doing what it's all about, and that's about sharing love with those who are struggling.
It just doesn't take that much effort to do so much good.
I'm a mother of 4. I grew up in a very hard childhood. My mom usually wouldn't stop beating me and my brothers until we weren't breathing or were bleeding. Me and my brothers got taken away by DFS for 18 months. While I was in care, I went mute for 18 months. It was very traumatic. I can't stress how much traumatic it is for a child, even if the situation is bad.
You broke a cycle of the physical abuse that you grew up with, that I think your mom may have grown up with.
Yes.
But your struggle with addiction is heartbreaking because you were addicted at a very, very, very young age.
My mom got me and my brothers addicted on methamphetamines when I was 14 years old. I just know what I wanted to grow up. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to know how it feels to love. I wanted to know how it feels to have somebody love you unconditionally, and just that parent love so much. I didn't want to be a firefighter or a doctor or anything. I wanted to be a mom. So I did become a mother at an early age with following me addiction from what my mother started. And I do love my kids. We have a very good bond. My kids are great. There's one thing that I have failed as a mother is, fighting that addiction, breaking that chain. So that's the reason why my children are in DFS right now. My mom initially made a call, which at the end of the day, as a parent, I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing with substance abuse. But she did make the call. My kids were taken out of my home. It's been very traumatic and very hard on my kids. It's been really hard because I felt like I was lost. I wasn't getting the information or the help that I need through DFS or my caseworker or my attorney or anybody. I never thought that I'd have my kids taken from me, ever. It's been difficult. At first, I started going with Family Connection Center, and it's been amazing. I'm like their biggest cheerleader. I love it. I have not had the type of support through family or anybody as I have received here. Like, it's amazing. Out of this whole experience with my kids being taken, this program has actually been the one thing that has given me hope, have given me resources, has given me the steps that I need to take to get my kids back. And that means a lot. I actually feel like it's like we're family here, and my kids love it here.
We love them.
One of the beautiful things about Family Connection is that from the very first moment that you decide that this is something you want to explore, is that you are never alone in this process. We have really tried to craft and create this program so that it's very replicatable. If it's something where you think, man, we want to get this up and running really quickly, we can make that happen. If it's something where you want to explore that over the course of a long period of time, we can make that happen too. We've been working for several years to build resource libraries, trainings, video trainings, podcasts, books, articles that are all compiled in a Family Connection resource library that all of our visit sites get access to. And on top of that, you also get connected to other site leaders around the country. We've got some really cool connection points where you can pop in and say, hey, we maybe are trying to figure out how to do this. Has anybody had this problem before? And somebody else, that's doing visits over here in this county or this state might say, oh, actually, this is how we address that.
Connecting with the Family Connections program through the Connecting Grounds for us has been a really simple process. Holly has been really invitational in helping us learn, what are the basic steps we need to do to make this happen. But of course, it's one thing to want to be excited about a program. It's another thing to put it together. And so we really appreciate the really practical steps that Holly provided so that we can learn exactly what we need to do to make this happen here at Brentwood.
If you are interested in bringing Family Connection to your faith community, to your city, I would encourage you, jump on the connectinggrounds.com, and at the top where it says outreaches, scroll down and click on the Family Connection page. And then when you get to that page, it'll give you a chance to, check things out, kind of look at some different things. There's a button there that you can click that just says, I want to bring Family Connection to my community, and start that conversation with us. And that's genuinely all that it is. And so we will begin to talk through that process with you, feel it out with you, see if this is a good fit, and work with you every step of the way to make this dream a reality in your community.
If I had to give a message to another church, I would say you're missing out if you don't. The amount of joy that the church and community gets from these parents, and the amount of joy that these parents and children get from this program is immeasurable.
Family Connection, really at its essence, the advocacy, the relational work, the safe space for visits, all of it is really breaking stigmas. And to me, I have met so many people in this work, so many parents who came from really hard places, who have walked through incredibly challenging spaces. I can tell you, the majority of the families in our systems, they love their children. And so many of these children, they want to be home with their parents. They want healing and they want stability, but they want that to be with their biological parents. And to be a part of seeing healing, to be a part of being able to sit and play a board game with a family, to sit and be part of their meal, and just the sacredness of holding their story, of being able to be part of helping grow that story. There is nothing like that I've ever been a part of, because this work matters. And I find myself just humbled that an incredibly small little idea born out of a place of frustration for one child and his mom is now something that is giving families hope. And that hope is not something that we should ever underestimate.